It was a high-profile double murder filled with intrigue. A well-respected Albuquerque couple killed in their home finance guy, the prime suspect in the killings. Cops are positive that he's the killer. But almost 7 years after the murders, the case seems to be going in circles. And it was back before the state Supreme Court just this week because questions keep arising over how APD says it got the goods on the suspected killer. Dean Staley is on special assignment.
I just don't want it to go away until the right person is, put in prison, till my sister and my brother-in-law get justice.
Antoinette Curran has been waiting nearly 7 years for justice. So far, it is nowhere in sight.
There's an empty filling there. There's an empty spot right there.
Curran's sister, Bernadette Olemacher, and Bernadette's husband, Greg, were both shot to death in August 2005 in their northwest Albuquerque home. Since then, there have been endless legal problems, questions about who done it, and no shortage of intrigue.
We believe that the mistakes made by the Albuquerque Police Department are so constitutionally outrageous that the case should never go to trial.
And it might not. For the first year after the murders, police suspected the Olemachers' 20-year-old daughter, Renee, in the killings. She was the beneficiary of her parents' $1 million life insurance policy. She was also in the house at the time of the murders. She claims she's only alive because she hid in a closet. A year later, police connected former Countrywide loan employee Ronald Santiago to the case. He'd done some work for the Olemachers on a refinancing application. Police and prosecutors believe Santiago was trying to defraud the Olemachers and killed them to cover his tracks. Investigators searched Santiago's garage and found a shell casing fired from the same 9mm gun used in the murders.
It is the only piece of evidence that links my client to this double homicide.
They had a motive and evidence and charged Santiago with the murders. But that's when the case started moving in circles. In 2008, District Court Judge Pat Murdoch ruled the evidence from Santiago's home could not be used because APD didn't go into the house until after that search warrant expired. 2 years later, the state Supreme Court overturned that decision and sent the case back here to District Court. But Judge Murdoch threw out the evidence again, this time ruling police had searched Santiago's home too early.
Or State of New Mexico versus Ronald Santiago.
The Supreme Court heard oral arguments on that issue Monday. But even if the justices allow the shell casing, Santiago's defense attorneys could have a field day at trial with the only physical evidence linking Santiago to the murders.
Now you don't see it, now you do. What does that mean?
These photos show the gym bag in Santiago's garage, the bag in which cops say they found the bullet casing. Now take a closer look at this picture. In the upper right corner, there is no shell casing. Now take a look at this picture of the same bag. A shell casing suddenly appears.
It was only until we really began to look at this and we said, where did that shell casing come from? It's not there, but it's there.
Could this be the shell casing? It's not clear. Albuquerque police and the DA's office refused to comment on the photos, so we took them to Tom Wiggins, a retired Santa Fe PD homicide detective.
Without a doubt, this is the immutable law of physics. There is no way to argue that there's a bullet casing here in this shot and there isn't one in this shot.
Still, Wiggins says the casings could have been under everything in the bag. If that's what happened, a case can be made that APD did not properly document the contents of that bag as they removed the items.
If there's a search warrant and they know they're going in for evidence, then the work is certainly sloppy.
And Riggs says there's another reason he finds the bullet casing evidence suspicious.
Neighbors said they heard 5 or 6 shots. The initial APD supervisor on the scene said, I saw 5 or 6 shell casings.
Renee Olemacher also told police she heard 5 or 6 shots, but APD crime scene technicians could only find 4 shell casings in the Olemachers' home, one sitting upright on a dresser.
I keep going back to 5 were described, 4 were picked up. Where's number 5?
I guess, are you implying that this 5th casing somehow was planted?
I'll leave that to the viewer's imagination.
Ron Santiago remains out of jail and tells News 13 he would have made little money off the Olemakers and had no motive to kill them. Renee Olemaker, meanwhile, has moved out of state. With a trial now uncertain, a sister still waits for justice.
I'm sure everybody says, you know, this isn't supposed to happen to your family, you know, and it's not. It shouldn't happen to anybody's family.
On special assignment, Dean Staley, KRQE, News 13.
It may be months before the Supreme Court decides on this latest problem with the search warrant.